baby of mine for definitely the last year and a half, gosh, since I was even small, a facet of it. I just want everyone to know who's here tonight that the reason you're here is because you've crossed my path or Stace's path or Chuck Alfieri's path somewhere along the way in all of this coming about and evolving of the concept of 180. And how many people think they understand what 180 your self-care oasis is? Just kind of raise your hand. Okay, y'all are all the ones that I've chewed your ear off from last year. But anyway, what 180 is it really is to try to approach a whole new type of healthcare that's called self-care. That we are the individuals are the most important part of our health, and us taking care and responsibility for ourselves. How this evolved is I have, as a child, always wanted to be in some fashion of either fashion or the cosmetic industry. It got diverted into the fashion side rather than into the cosmetic end, and had an opportunity that I finally decided I'm done after 26 years. I really want to bring something together that I feel like would really touch people and help people. And what that evolved was when I started doing research, a third cousin of mine had gone through chemo for the second time, and I got to visit with her. Hadn't seen her in about 15 years. And I started talking to her about her care. And she raved about her oncologists and the nurses, etc. But she said nothing about how traumatic it was about her hair loss, loss of nutrition, changing her skin, and all the physical ailments that you're really not even disclosed to about. And so I started doing more and more research about that. And coming from a family that most of them are physicians, I found out, well, even Dr. Burt here will tell you, well, we're really not supposed to go that far. You know, we're supposed to help in the healing and get them on their way, but we really can't get to the extent of getting completely emotionally involved, even though we do what we can. So that is where I started evolving into finding out that with cancer patients, who they were going to and seeking out was either friends of friends or friends of a family member who had already experienced cancer and gone through parts of the trials and tribulations and kind of potluck finding who's good. The number one resource, and this is recorded both in psychiatric documents, the first person that most individuals tell some of their deepest needs to is their hairstylist. And you can ask your therapist. They're ahead of them. They know what's going on before their therapist even does. And so this is one of the first persons that a cancer victim will go and disclose and say, well, I want you to know I just came. And a lot of times they will go directly to the salon, or within a few weeks, that I was recently diagnosed with cancer and I need your help and I don't know what's going to happen. And Chuck, who'll be speaking in just a few minutes, will share with you a very small portion of the industry even knows what to do because of reasons of, like in the fashion industry, that's all going after fashion, you know, and every dress now has to look like Kate Middleton would wear it. So that's been the evolution of 180. I came and, as I mentioned, each one of you have crossed my path or one of our paths some way in the development of this concept. So I want you to know there's a very specific reason as to why you're here and that we're asking for your support in this going forward. I met Chuck by kicking around and looking for space, and we met the first time and I told him, well, what I'm wanting to do is open this salon and we're going to provide nutrition because I had connected with Stace, who runs and owns 4X Nutrition, and formerly Max Muscle. I guess it's okay for me to say that, but now he's on his own and doing his own thing, which is great. Because the components that these individuals need the most is nutrition and the patience and the emotional concern and care about their hair. Because most of the people will tell you, as one did tonight, it's our crowning glory. And so hence the reason for the salon. Then moving into exercise, which would be physical movement. One issue is that a lot of the cancer treatment centers today, just from research and from my focus groups, they do, even though they may be trying to provide these services in, quote, cancer treatment centers where they are actually administering the medical chemotherapy or radiation, it's not where the patient wants to be to receive ambulatory services such as hair care, nutrition care, exercise. They don't want to go there, they go there and they want to get away from there. They didn't even want a facility to be located on a medical campus. That's how adamant that they wanted it to be, that they already feel different and they want to feel whole again. So the whole point of 180 is that we're working with oncologists and capturing the patient and the client at the day of diagnosis, so that she is aware of all of these services and that she's not having to call her friend Dot saying, I was just diagnosed with stage 1 or stage 2, and send her, do you know somebody? Or do you know someone who can help me? And that's where all of this has evolved, from nutrition, the hair, into emotional care, into what we call gentle movement. A lot of the treatment centers will offer yoga and Tai Chi and lots of different physical movement exercises. A lot of them that cannot be done until post-therapy, way post-therapy, because they're too intense. Where gentle movement is going to be more used for stretch bands, exercise ball, and just even musical improvisation, where they'll just be moving to music, so that they're just stretching and exercising their body. And number one, just walking 5 minutes a day, just to walk 5 minutes a day. So I'm going to let Chuck speak next, because he's really the individual who is at the front line when the person has just been diagnosed, and it would be the first stop that I would be making. Just FYI before Chuck begins, the spaces that you're seeing and the shots that you've seen and all of the rendering work, I want to thank Kate Healy over here, our interior designer, for putting together all of the presentation boards. Those are my dream boards, and they're getting ready to go home and candles lit in front of them every night, because I'm working on raising the funds to make all of that come about. But Chuck will be sharing with you really from the standpoint of once someone comes in, what he's approached with and where the movement goes from there is just amazing. And then after that, Stace will give you what his purpose would be from a nutritional standpoint, which is extremely important. And most people don't realize how important it is until after they've gotten into their actual medical treatment. Where the hair thing is, they already kind of know, what's going to happen. So Chuck Alfieri, I want to tell you, I walked into Chuck's, I was telling him what I was wanting to do, and he's like, no you don't. You do not want to start this kind of salon. And I said, I know, no one in the business knows exactly
well, it's pretty
how to
complex.
cater.
You see all the services that we offer. I was very excited when, by the way, good evening everyone, good to see you. I've been in the hair loss industry for about 30 years, every aspect that you can think of, from Negro to custom wigs, etc. And I was very excited when Ken approached us because, we deal with cancer patients all day long. They come in, they're devastated by just getting diagnosed with this, and within a week, the hair's going to be coming out, their children, or whatever might be the issue. And so we have a great understanding of what they're about to go through, and we deliver a really great product, and really fanatical about the way we present the product to the consumer. And so we do have a great understanding of this. And this idea of the salon that we want to put here is we're going to be offering a lot of different types of services, from not just the initial diagnosis and putting the wig on, but we have other things that we can offer as the hair starts to come back. We can speed up hair growth. We have 2 physicians that work closely with us in our salon. We do hair transplants. We do, again, we have our own line of hair replacement. We have 4 Bosley affiliates, and we have a lot of regrowth products that we could offer to the patient once they come out of the the treatment to speed up the process of the hair growth. So, and besides that, give them a, a comfortable feeling, going into a place where they could get, kind of get their life back. And that's what this is about. When we seen this whole idea, the whole project, it was, I told Ken, I said, Ken, this is exactly what we need. Right now, a patient comes to me, we send them from this doctor this way, we send them this way. It's all going to be under one roof. And I'm very excited about it. So, yeah.
Chuck, if you will, real quick, just share with them kind of the process of that. It may not be just one rig appliance that they're using throughout the process.
Okay, let's say the way it works right now, the person gets diagnosed, the first thing they do is they come to us right from the oncologist. At that point, we might take some pictures, we might look at pictures of what, well, again, if they still have their hair, which most of them still do, we'll kind of duplicate that exact type of hairstyle. We have programs, we kind of have our own kind of credit card type of system that we have in our salon where they pay a monthly fee. And in that monthly fee, they can come in and get all the services that they want. And that's pretty much it. So, yeah. Plus the services that are attached to it on a basis.
And that as their hair is growing back, that they're moved into an open air wig.
Then we get them into a second phase, phase 2, which is an integrated type of cap, where their own hair will be kind of pulled through and utilized with the integrated cap. And again, these are products that we have our own branding on. And then from there we have micro extensions, a beautiful product from Italy, a big part of our business, where we laser incredibly tiny extensions to their own existing hair. Nothing like a regular hair salon extension, nothing like that at all. These extensions have 3 or 4 hairs in them. And we can actually take those extensions and build up their own existing hair as it's coming back. That really thin, fine hair can be built up right on the top of the head. So, and then from there we can get them into other organic type of hair colors. We understand how to make thin hair look thicker. So we have a really good understanding of what they're about to go through and all of the phases all the way to the end. And what's great about it, we always keep that client after the treatments have been done. So, yeah.
So in the process of this happening, you're also doing nutrition to help them with their hair to grow, for their and all of that.
Yeah, and we're medically directed. So for example, a person might come in and the hairstyle maybe come back. We put them under a scope. We have a computer that will give us a density way out of exactly where the hair is at that particular point. Then we have several types of treatments that we might recommend. Laser therapy, for example, certain types of topical treatments, minoxidils, some prescriptions might be involved. And then we monitor that on a monthly basis. And it's great when you see that client look at the screen and they start to see that hair starting to come back. And they really feel great about that.
You do light therapy as well?
We do. Sure. And so they really feel great about it. It's kind of rewarding to see that person, what they've been through, and you hear some of the stories that they've been through, and start to see where we took them. So it's great. So I'm a 3rd generation in this industry, and my grandfather used to make wigs for the theater, and we later on became an affiliate of Sloan Kettering in New York City, and it just kind of moved in this direction. So, but this is definitely the future. What's great about this, I can see this in every city in the country. We work a lot with other hair replacement studios, and they're hungry for something new. And I told Ken, some of the associates that I have throughout the country, throughout the world, I could definitely get them interested in putting facilities like this in every city in the country, maybe even global. So.
Great.
Good. I do a song and dance for you too.
I've got the circus pony. I got some.
You know what?
Oh, you do? Oh, okay, good. Thanks for letting me borrow you tonight. Stace Huck is our next presenter who is in nutrition, and I am one of Stace's clients. And I still have a lot of work to do. But from a nutritional standpoint, Stace is going to pick up with, it's going to be a real emphasis. The hair portion is kind of, for me, a given, and like for Chuck, because as you know yourself, it's like, well, I'll go there, I definitely want to go there. What happens is that we're capturing them at the time of right after they've been diagnosed, prior to them beginning their medical treatment, which is significantly important than having captured them once they're in their medical treatment or post-medical treatment. And so Stace will share with you some of the reasons as to why that is, and a huge portion of it is just about nutrition. And then when he's done, I'll pass out just so that you can have a better understanding of the chart. Thanks, Stace.
Good evening, everyone.
That's right.
First of all, my name is Stace Howe. I'm a nutritionist and an owner at 4X Nutrition, and I am going on 9 years as a cancer survivor. Let me tell you a little bit about my story. I know this stuff, and I had the benefit of, when I was diagnosed, of knowing generally what was going to happen to me, because I had a doctor who was a very close friend who said, Stace, I didn't have hair loss issues, as you can see. I was like, it's going to go. My father lost it. But my doctor said, Stace, your issue will be loss of energy. You've worked very hard on your body, fitness, the sports you play, really everything around lifestyle. Hair is very significant, and I think Chuck and the things that he does are spectacular, and he's going to be integral to this. But then there's an inside-out approach that comes from the emotional and the spiritual, and a lot of the things that can happen with somebody who's going through this sort of a tragedy, if you will, or a challenge, if you will. And for mine, my doctor knew that I would be devastated if after treatment I lost 40 pounds of muscle that I had worked very hard for many years. If I missed a lot of work, my career was preeminent in my life at that time. If I lost a lot of work or jeopardized my work situation or my rising career, if you will, if I wasn't able to do the sports and the travel and the things that I wanted. But I knew how to stop that. I knew enough about nutrition to be able to put a plan together for me. Even the 3 weeks I had when they were putting me on some medicines to prepare my body for the treatment, I knew what to do. And I put on, it's actually funny, from diagnosis to when I walked in for my first treatment, and my good friend who was my doctor was there, family doctor, was with the oncologist, and did a double take and said, he said it in a pretty nasty term, he's like, you put on 20-something pounds of muscle in 3 weeks. And I said, yes, because I'm going to lose it over the next 12 to 16 weeks, and I don't want this to affect my ability to function. It's that important to me. So that's really kind of my personal story. And fast forward now out of the corporate world, which I left, and a little over 5 years ago, started the business that I'm in now, which we, as Ken mentioned, we rebranded. We went out to really on our own as 4X Nutrition. It's a very generic name on purpose. Envision, if you will, 4X or 4 times healthy, 4 times happy, 4 times sexy, 4 times vibrant. And that's really what we want to be. We want to be able to make people realize that it isn't just about looking like a big scary Stace. It's about being the best that you can be, taking your body to, perform the way you need it to perform for your lifestyle. So that's really the object here. And as I've built this business over the last 5 years, we have over 5,000 customers and clients we've worked with, hundreds that we put on detailed, specific nutrition plans, and time again, we learned the story of people before we know all of their history, and we go through their medical history before we start working with them. The stories you hear of how having energy or having strength or to be able to participate in the activities or to play with your kids, how important that is and how that can affect your outlook on life, but certainly when you're going through treatment, how it affects your outlook on the treatment plan that you're under, and really what it's going to take to get back to where you want to be, and maybe even better at the end. So in the course of building this business and working with people, one thing we discovered is that there is a nutritional and dietetics field out there. Clinical dietitians are spectacularly trained, very skilled folks, but they work really with severe clinical cases. That's their specialty. And then there are called general dietetics, which is folks that are just out there trying to educate people to not be so obese, make healthy food choices and things, and they don't get real specific. And over here, these clinical dietitians, they're very specifically trying to keep people alive in medical situations. And in this big gap in the middle are pretty much all of us types in this room that say, I want to make a change. Either I have an illness, or I just want to lose weight, or I want to be better at a sport, or I want to look better for a cruise or my wedding, whatever. You can put anything in there. And in the middle are all these people like us that need specifics and information. We need, tell me what to eat, how much to eat, when to eat it, how should my body respond? Walk with me down this journey so that as I change my body, or as my body adapts, or it doesn't respond the way maybe this person's does, or the way the computer programs say that it should, help me to go through this. And that's really what we do at 4X Nutrition with our guests or our clients, is really to kind of fill that gap. And where we don't belong is on those sides, and we have partnerships and arrangements with those folks on either side, that if somebody is in fact having severe medical issues, that we really shouldn't be in that realm, and they need medical nutrition. We have folks that partner with us. We have clinical dietitians. We have educators and things that we partner with for that. So we can cover all of it, but we're really that gap in the middle that helps people, that is their counselor, their coach. That's really the word we use the most, is usually coach, nutrition coach, because you don't really need somebody to come and tell you to diet or to do it. You don't really need somebody yelling at you that you only lost a pound or gained a pound, or that you're fatty or whatever. You really need somebody to help you make the changes that you want to make. And that's really what we do. That's on the service side. Now we also do have a retail element, so we're able to combine the diet and the food choices and the healthful living choices around food with the reality of people's lifestyles. Even through treatment, many people, myself, had to work. I didn't have the option to just take off for 12 weeks. So I worked a very aggressive schedule. What can I do where I can't go cook a meal at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? So we do have access to all of the industry-leading products, and are now in development for our own private label of products that are geared towards these types of needs, if you will, to be able to fill the gaps and really supplement where necessary to help people recover, to help people achieve their goals. And that's really what we do on this side. Now our involvement with 180, and feel free to stop me, I get going and I get really excited. And you can stop and slow me down with a question or something might be helpful. But the getting involved with this, as Ken mentioned, he was a client, or is a client, and I have many clients. We work with bariatric clinics, we work with local schools, police departments, law enforcement, surgery recovery, physical therapists. So we really have a lot of folks, and this is just a very natural, affirming next branch, if you will, in helping people and help them achieve their healthful needs, and to help them succeed through proper nutrition. So when Ken and I first met, I was more as a client. One of the things that we had talked about is, he said, well, this is what I'm thinking of doing, this dream. I said, wow, that's amazing, because I have people who have come through chemotherapy, people that I've helped, and they've come to me, and I have a network of massage therapists and some trainers, and I've kind of built that up, and I'm kind of doing this in a mini version here. And he mentioned, oh, and then I have this Chuck, who, Alfieri and the salon and the wonderful things that they do. It really is just a wonderful synergy of how these things all fell in place, and how people come into your life when the opportunity presents it, and you have to seize it and run with it. And that's really what we're trying to do here. So I can't thank you enough for coming and listening to the dream, if you will, and your support. And any questions or anything you have, I'll be here afterward. I'd be happy to share with you. Now, I didn't go through details on what we do and how we do it. Nobody probably wants to hear that after drinking and stuff. But that's what the handouts are for. Just some examples of what the things look like. That there's science behind this, there's methodology behind this, and there's just examples that we have in the handout that you can see. And I have some other clients here that I may guinea pig later if I get questions that they can attest to some of the things we do and how we work with folks. All right?
Two last things that I wanted to mention. One is that within the Stasis program is that a patient's metabolic rate would be measured, so that you would know whether you at your resting rate need 2,300 calories a day, which is extremely helpful for the cancer patient who's lost their sense of taste or their appetite, that they know, if I'm drinking these 3 shakes, I'm getting my 1,800 calories so that I'm maintaining what weight that I'm supposed to be maintaining rather than losing. You know, almost 50%, I may have said this earlier, of treatments are postponed or stopped or withheld until the person regains enough weight for them to go on and receive the chemo treatment or the radiation treatment. Last thing, you guys, once again, everybody was saying, Chuck was like, now what is this? What are y'all doing? What's this launch? What is it? Because is it a grand opening? I'm like, well, no, it's not really a grand opening because we don't have our space yet, but we're going to go ahead with our services even prior to that. But what it's really about is that we look at you now as our circle of friends and supporters. And beginning August 1st is when oncologists will start referring their patients to me and me scheduling time directly with Chuck, and Chuck knows that Mr. Joe Smith is coming here for this reason and that he has just gotten X diagnosis. Same thing with Stace. As part of down the road the program within the facility, that caregiver would be able to go into our system and see what their progress has been under the nutritional and the emotional status and even with their activity range. So it's all hopefully to be all inclusive and all open and supportive, and that's why you're here tonight. And I just can't thank you enough. It's really emotional for me personally, but I really appreciate it. Eat, drink, and be merry. I mean, there's lots of food out there still. And there's gifts on the side. It's a candle.